The Mommy Collective Mommy Dinner Plug series in Chicago is back on March 11th. It's a curated, intimate night, a real dinner with moms and women who are building, working, creating, and trying to do it all without losing themselves in the process. You'll walk in, get settled, and actually have an easy way to meet people. No awkward networking. No shouting over a crowded bar. No pretending you're fine when you're running on fumes. Just good conversation, good food, and the kind of connections that don't feel transactional. Seats are limited on purpose because the room matters. Grab your seat and head to themommycollective.com/events.
Welcome to the Mommy Collective. I'm Paulina Rowe, radio host, TV contributor, writer, and mom of one. This is where ambitious moms come to keep their identity intact while navigating motherhood. Here we talk about the real stuff: career, money, relationships, identity, and everything that gets messy in between. You won't find sugarcoating or cliches. What you will find are unfiltered conversations, real resources, and proof that you don't have to lose yourself to be a good mom. The Mommy Collective is here to remind you can be ambitious, you can take up space, and you can thrive in motherhood and in everything else that makes you, you. Before we get into the episode, make sure you're following the Mommy Collective on Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram, and share this podcast with a mommy in your life who needs a little inspiration or just a reminder that she's killing it. Also, don't forget to sign up for our newsletter and leave us a review so we can keep showing up and reach every ambitious mom out there doing big things. Let's get into it.
Okay, another episode of Mommy Collective. Today, I'm so excited for my guest. I have the most amazing attorney. We're talking trademarking, we're talking business, talking all that good stuff. And of course, a mommy herself, Noeli Serna is here. How are you?
Good. How are you? Thanks for having me.
I'm so good. Oh my God, thanks for coming on. I was so happy that you were down to come on the podcast today because it's about time you and I have chatted. We have so much to talk about. But first thing first, if you don't mind, will you tell us a little bit about yourself for those who might be tuning in for the first time?
Yeah, the abbreviated version. So Noeli Serna. Yeah, I am a first generation Mexican-American, first to go to college, law school, now corporate attorney. So I've been practicing law about 10 years. My parents have a restaurant, which is pretty foundational. And I started working at my family's restaurant at 5, which is then what led me to just love all things business, right? And really understand, especially from a startup perspective, just how many resources it takes, how much knowledge you need to get things going. And now as a corporate attorney, as the founder of my own corporate law firm, working with businesses like my parents' restaurant, just small and mid-sized businesses here in the Chicagoland area. So it's been awesome to kind of bring it full circle for myself personally and my business.
Absolutely. I love your story. I mean, I've heard it, when you were at our summit last year. I really got to know you more on a personal level too, ever since last year. And you do host a lot of really cool things in the city. You bring a lot of Latinas together, I believe monthly, which is so cool. So many connections come out of there, even personally for me. So I love all the work that you're doing. And then you also have a son, right?
I do. I have a almost 3-year-old in April boy. Yeah. So that's been fun too. It kind of lined up pretty well with when I launched my business and then had my kid within a year. But yeah, he's running around here too.
I love it. And you did that. So congrats.
Still doing it.
Still, and every day, still doing it. I love it. So you grew up working in your family's restaurant. So I'm curious, what did that teach you about business that maybe law school didn't?
Oh my gosh. I mean, law school does not prepare you for business law at all. So working at the family restaurant helped me learn what it means to run a business, right? The management, the ups and downs and unexpectedness of it all, and the ways you can trip up, right, on a lot of things without having resources and knowledge. So I think what it taught me is that going to professionals and having a network of experts in different areas, whether that's law, finance, bookkeeping, taxes, right? Everything matters. And it really all leads to the success of what a business can achieve, especially as it gets bigger. So learn more the foundational of what a business needs. And then now with the law experience, I've learned to kind of integrate the legal protections into all that as well.
100%. What about that leap, right? What did that leap look like for you to kind of do your own thing, right? I'm assuming, and correct me if I'm wrong, but when you graduate from law school, do you typically go work with a firm? Is that kind of how it goes, like the steps?
Yeah, that's one of the most traditional steps. Yeah, so I went to work with a couple of the biggest firms here in Chicago. I was a banking lawyer working with your Goldman Sachs and your JP Morgans and really huge financial institutions. So it was a great training ground. I will say it was rough hours, but you really learn how to practice law at a high level. But you don't it's not like you're working with the business, right? You're working with a division of a really big corporation in corporate America. So it lacked a little bit of that humanity, I think, that now I love to see in my practice, because now I'm actually working with the business owners directly.
And you serve your clients too in both English and Spanish,
Yes.
which I think is incredible for so many reasons. So what for you, right? What changes when a client can fully express themselves and really in their first language?
Yeah.
What changes?
Everything changes. So I think that is the most important element of being a good, not just lawyer, but professional and a service provider in general, is really understanding what does your client need, right? Like, where can I truly add value here? And with a language barrier, it's of course much harder to communicate what the true issues are, even bringing up like nuances and subtleties that maybe the client doesn't think are important, but for me as a lawyer, it's really important to know so I can better help them. I get more of that now that I can actually speak with Spanish speakers in their native language. And on top of that, it's trust too, right? So people that can hear that I speak the same language as them understand and see a reflection of their own cultural identity and come to me with more information than I otherwise probably would have gotten from them, which again, helps me do my job better and helps me help them as best I can as well.
And they probably, like you said, feel the trust, they feel a sense of comfort, and they probably, I mean, to be completely transparent, they probably feel very protected, if that makes sense, of like putting, like, when you go through, I'm sure you know this, obviously, on your side, but like when you go with an attorney and you're doing legal work, I mean, you're ensuring so much trust into like the firm or the person, right? There's just the transaction, I think, yes, it's a transaction, but I think it also becomes very personal. Do you get what I mean?
I completely agree. And there's a fear. You hear lawyer and you think problem, I think, in some cases. But people don't think like, oh, lawyers also equal solution, right, for my business. So you're already coming into that with a little bit of like speculation, right, of what it'll really be. But yeah, it definitely, the trust element does help make it a more, relatable experience. And it's not something to be scared about. Yeah.
Oh. 100%. Love that. Sorry, I just love it because I just know how good person you are. So I know that you really are like, you're very much willing to help. And I love that you do that for our community. So now I kind of want to dive into the business side and the really fun side. What do you think let's say 2 or 3 maybe top legal mistakes that you see entrepreneurs make early, especially when they're wearing all the hats, right? And they're moving really fast. And that happens. I'm there. I've done it. What are the 2 to 3 top mistakes that you've seen?
All right. So ChatGPT, AI, incredible tools, powerful tools. Yes, I use it, right, in some ways, in marketing in particular. But I often see nowadays, especially, that people are coming to me because they created a contract on ChatGPT, or they asked ChatGPT and have taken some sort of step, and now, something happened or it wasn't right. I would say, use AI as a tool, maybe as a starting ground, but don't rely on it as your legal advice, especially from a business perspective, because ChatGPT has some information sourced through many sources, but it doesn't know Illinois law specifically, right? So especially if your business is in the state of Illinois or wherever your business is, it's the laws of that state that are going to apply. So ChatGPT doesn't always know how to distinguish something like that. And also, it doesn't keep your information private, right? So if you're putting a lot of confidential information about your business, about your personal life into an AI tool, if it ever has to come to light, it could, right? And it's discoverable, we call it, in litigation, for example. So being really wary of how we use AI, and especially now it's very popular, but to that, it transitions into point 2, not relying on the experts as much as business owners should. So having a lineup, right, of your lawyer, your accountant, your insurance broker, having those people that you trust and are truly trusted referral sources ready to go ask them questions. I think that's a big mistake to not have those people identified early on. And many of us professionals, we're not going to charge you, right, to have a conversation with us. We're here as a resource, myself included. I can speak for myself. I'm always happy to chat 15, 20 minutes. What's your question? Let's work through it and probably get a faster answer from me than, Google, right? And the black hole that is the internet sometimes. And then probably last thing is not treating our businesses as something separate from ourselves personally, right? So
Tell me more.
when we have a business, I hope that we are creating a legal entity for it, whether that's your LLC, your corporation. That entity is your business, and you should not be commingling your personal and the business. We should not be paying for our, designer purses and cute things that we want to buy personally through the business credit card or bank account, right? Because that actually could create issues for business owners down the line. So that's another big one. Separating business and personal is really important.
Okay, that's great advice. I hope those listening understand that this is great free advice.
Yeah.
And they're not paying for this advice. So you're welcome. I'm just kidding. No, I love it. So at what point do you feel like it's time for a business owner to bring in a lawyer, attorney, right? To go that route. If I'm making this up because I always use this example when I do like my own stuff at my own business. If I'm banana bread lady and I'm selling banana bread at my house, right? I mean, like I'm just throwing something out there, but like that's like my business, and that is absolutely a business. So if I'm doing that, at what point would you say, okay, Paulina, it's time to we got to get a little more legally serious here? When does that happen to you, or when should that happen? Is it like from day one? Or at a certain point?
I would generally say at the moment, you're like, this isn't just a hobby anymore. I'm not just selling to my friend, next door. And I do want to make something of this. And maybe I envision it as truly, this is going to become a business. I'd say that's the moment, right? Where it's not just for fun. It's not just a hobby. It's something that you want to grow. Bring your lawyer in at the very least to look into your legal entity, to ask them what you do need in order to protect yourself. Do I have the business licenses and permits I need to actually be conducting this at a larger scale? Can I use my business name, and am I not infringing on someone else's intellectual property? Like all of those things sound trivial, but they're really important research that you should be doing at the beginning before you really start to expand and get more recognition. Yeah,
I agree with that. And then what about, you mentioned even using the name, right? I mean, I feel like we live in a world where, and I always say this about just even social media, whatever it might be. I'm like, because I work in radio. So everything that you hear on the radio, it's like a little inside joke that we have, but it's like, it's been done. Like what you hear, it's been done. So I'm sure when it comes to business ideas, business names, to some capacity, it's been done, it's been used. So can you give us a crash course when it comes to using a name, or I don't know if you're calling it an entity, but using a name for your business and the trademarking process, if that's important, and if so, how does one do that?
Hugely important. Oh man, we could spend an hour talking about this, but
I know.
No, truly. So I would say the moment you have a name you're really excited about, you're like, okay, this is going to be my business name. Come talk to someone like me first, right? So we do something for free. It's called a preliminary knockout search, meaning, okay, you have this great name. You want to use it for your business. Let me go look at the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office to see if anyone else has filed for a trademark for something even similar. It doesn't have to be identical, and they're selling the same kind of product or service as you. Because if I get something back saying, yeah, there's something out there very similar to your name, I would probably suggest go back to the drawing board and let's come up with something new. Why? Because I don't want you to start using that name, create this beautiful logo, get your name out there, and then all of a sudden you get a nice email that says cease and desist in the subject line telling you to stop using that name because you are infringing on someone's trademark. I have personally seen that happen many times, unfortunately, and people come to me because they've received those kinds of notices. And many times, whoever sent it has a claim and they had to change their name. and rebrand. And now they've invested money in that brand, and now they have to go reinvest more to change it. So I'd say that's the first thing. Before you even put your name out there, do the research, speak to a trademark attorney to make sure it's a name that you feel confident will not create issues initially. And then trademark it, right? Like if it's truly a unique name and you are going to put it out there in the world, I would say, why not take that step and protect it? So without going into all the nitty gritties of the trademark world and law, there are two ways you can trademark. One, the moment you start using a brand name in commerce to sell something, you actually have a trademark under what's called common law. So you have certain rights within your own geography, right? So if you're just in Illinois, maybe you have protection against other businesses using that name in the state of Illinois. Now, the best route is that federal registration. So you can go submit an application federally to get a federal trademark for your business name or logo, which gives you protections more nationwide as well. So I think there's huge benefits in taking that step, especially if it's a unique name, you're proud of it, you don't want someone else stealing it, right? That's one initial step that you can do to protect that intellectual property because it's a business asset. It actually has literal monetary value behind it. So why not protect it as well?
Is all hope lost if somebody already has launched their business or their brand but haven't even looked into this yet? Is there all hope lost?
No. All hope is never lost in anything, I think. There's always something we can do. But I would say many business owners don't do this, right? So it's very common that people love the business name. They launched and they're, full steam ahead. I still think there's benefit in doing that research, talking to someone to see, is there any concern? Like, should I be worried about this? And if not, you could take that step no matter how far you are into your business of actually registering that trademark if you so choose. But doing that assessment at any point during your business journey, I think is really important to do. Yeah.
I agree. That's why you and I are working on my little trademark. And I still, we got to talk offline. But yes, I still got to move that forward already because it's been way too long. And I've been running around these streets without a trademark. It's true. True story, though. True story. No, I love it. So we discussed, obviously, trademarking. We discussed, creating the LLC, business name, contracts. What other important elements are we missing that you kind of, help your clients with?
So I would say if you're in business with partners, like you have business partners, oh my gosh, please get a partnership agreement in writing. Please put that clearly in writing among or between yourselves. That's where I see a lot of issues come up, honestly, is partners that started strong, they were excited, something just doesn't click, doesn't go as planned, and now we've got all these disputes, right, coming out of that. So business partnerships, you have to be clear about that. It's not because you don't trust each other, it's because you do trust each other and you want to memorialize that in writing. So that's a big thing that I see. Otherwise, what else? I mean, messy records, right? So I think paperwork is not sexy, right? It's not fancy, but we got to keep up with our corporate governance, right? You have that legal entity. All right, now figure out what do I have to do to maintain that every year? And there may be different requirements depending on the kind of entity you have. But one day, maybe you're trying to apply for a loan with the bank. Maybe you're trying to get a grant, right? And these awesome opportunities. They're going to ask you for some of these corporate records. And if you're not ready and if you don't have clean records, going to make it a lot harder for you to take advantage of those resources that only help your business grow, right, in the long term. So yeah, I would say those are a couple of big ones too.
Absolutely. And then I know that as far as like when it comes to contracts, right? I know like you've helped with like negotiating certain contracts for your clients, but I'm curious if like, because you've worked on everything from like major finance deals, again, to negotiating these contracts. What's like one small contract clause that can be a big problem later that you've seen or that comes up often?
Oh my gosh. So, I mean, there's so many, but people gloss over the like fine print at the back of contracts. Like we call it boilerplate, like these clauses that who knows what they mean. They're back there, but I don't know why it matters. One example, right, is if you provide a service and sometimes you use contractors yourself to help you do the work for your clients, right? So you have your own subcontractors or 1099 contractors that help you. you want to make sure that you have the right to actually assign some of that work to your own subcontractors. And sometimes people sign contracts that say, you cannot subcontract any of this work without either client consent or just period, right? And now you're in breach of contract if you're using 1099 contractors to do any of the work yourself. So yeah, I've seen people trip up over that. I've seen people trip up over how do I get out of this contract? So they have no termination language or it's not clear. When do I get paid? How do I, enforce that? I want to see some consequences. If you provide services and you're not getting paid on time, you can put something in your contract saying you can stop performing services until you get paid. So they're little things, but they can make a really big difference depending on the situation.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm curious, just like on a personal level, when it comes to, you running your business, but I'm curious if there are like things that you had to sort of unlearn, right? When it comes to success, work ethic, because I'm sure when you launched your business, and I know you already had a 1-year-old at that time, was it? Maybe.
Yeah, he was 1.
Yeah. So take us back to that time, right? What did you sort of have to unlearn when it came to like setting boundaries, but also putting the work down, making sure we're attending baby, but also like getting to the contracts. And I know also too, you're like me, I think you're like me, but listen, I love anybody that wants to come over and help me. I have a part-time nanny now, and I'm like, girl, love you. I'm going to take care of everybody because you know why? I'm a better mom when I can step away and focus, and then I come back and I am mom. So I'm just curious how you do it.
100%. Delegate. Like, so that is what I had to unlearn. I am a daughter of immigrants. My parents worked 24/7. I was at the restaurant working with them. So for us, like our whole existence was work. Put your head down. Like you got to get it done. And it didn't just mean work at the restaurant. It meant mom was also doing everything at home. She was doing drop off, pick up, everything, right? And it was almost a sign of weakness in some ways to ask for that help or get anyone else to come in and, God forbid, clean the house, right? Or help us do any small chore like that. So
yes,
I had to unlearn that, right? Because I quickly realized I cannot do it all by myself without completely burning out or just not being the best version of myself professionally and as a mom, as a wife, me as a human being, right, as I could be. So I learned the power of delegation. You mentioned a nanny. We have a phenomenal nanny that I trust completely with my son. And I work from home too, which is a blessing, right? Because I do see him come in and out. But I know that I have my time and space to actually be the best lawyer and advocate for my clients as possible. But it was learning that I didn't have to do it all at once, right? And I could delegate it to others that could help me do better at what I'm good at, right, as well. So that was a big thing, is learning to just let go of some things and let someone help me.
Yeah. Same way, girl. I totally get you. No, I mean, it's made me a better mom, a better wife, but just a more present person. And I think that is like so important. So I love it. What kind of resources, right, are you able to provide? Let's just say there's a mom out there who wants to start her business, right? But she's strapped on time, or maybe like, she isn't in a certain place, right, when it comes to like childcare, and that's just the current state that she's in.
Yeah.
What do you recommend, or what kind of resources can you even offer for someone like that? Because I feel like you're kind of like me. You're a mom advocate, you're a woman advocate, and I feel like I always try my best, right, to cheer for all the moms, but I do know that sometimes certain seasons really do kind of hold us back, or unfortunately we can't really do certain things. What advice and resources would you be able to offer that mom?
Oh my gosh. I think, well, one, I'm here to answer any questions, right? To make sure that you at least have someone that can be an advocate for you, at least from a legal perspective. And then I have a lot of trusted resources that help small business owners that may find themselves in that position. There are a lot of organizations like, I think immediately women. I think the Women's Business Development Center here in Illinois, right? They help women specifically that are looking to start their businesses. And I'm sure they have their own resources and coaching, right, to help you along, and it's free. So tapping into one professional and one resource opens the doors to others, right? To see where it is that we can come in and bring help. But yeah, it's really that you start there is you start with at least one person, and that person will open the doors to other people and other resources as well. Yeah.
That's why you're the best. So being in law school, I'm just curious, and being in is it still technically a predominantly male industry? Predominantly or not really? Kind of, sort of?
I would say, I would say about 50-50 men and women going to law school. I think women, far less of us at the partner, executive level in law. That is where we fall off the radar as women because we're the moms, because we're having kids. And yeah, that is where our numbers really take a big dive. Yeah.
Oh, see, I didn't know that. Wow. Well,
yeah.
I was going to ask sort of like, how did you navigate that season of your life in law school? And did you ever feel like, not an outsider necessarily, but did you ever have like imposter syndrome or anything of that nature while you were in school or even like starting at the firm?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. It comes to with being the first and not having other examples and models around me of lawyers, right, in my life.
Right.
So I always did feel a little out of place, but I've always been a hard worker and I've hustled my whole educational journey. So I decided I'm not going to treat it any differently, right? Like we're all capable and we got into these schools and we're in the room for a reason. And that's where I had to just, you keep moving forward that way. But yeah, every step of the way, it has been then when you're in the big law firms, when you're trying to climb and take next steps, it is a predominantly white male environment. So again, you don't see a lot of role models that look like you. But the way that I shut that out is I don't think about it. I'm just doing me and I'm doing my best and good things will come from that. But of course it's a struggle. And of course there's imposter syndrome. But now as my own kind of business owner, a lot of that, it's still there, right? There's some insecurity because I want to do best by my clients. But I've learned to have more trust in myself and, having my own business, I set my own rules. So that imposter syndrome is not what it used to be by any means.
No, absolutely. And what about when it comes to like taking this, but to motherhood, right? So what part of your identity became stronger after becoming a mom?
Ooh, part of my identity. Becoming a mom helped me be much more intentional as a business owner. So what I mean by that is, I want to be a present parent, and the fact that I own my own business allows me, I'm so fortunate, but it allows me to do that while not losing the integrity of being a great business owner and lawyer as well. So I've been able to set the schedule that I need to, be flexible with myself. And you used the word boundaries earlier. It has taught me to create stronger boundaries and stick to them where I think that they are important. There are exceptions, right? There are emergencies and people need things quickly sometimes. And I will make those exceptions when I really need to, but otherwise, I'm not saving lives. I'm not a doctor necessarily.
Same thing.
Yeah. So I think some things I know what can wait and I know what cannot, and being very intentional with myself there. So it's helped me become a better and more present business owner because I am very diligent and efficient with my time because I've learned to have to do that as a mom and having multiple forces pulling at me at any given moment. Yeah.
100%. No, I get that.
Yeah.
So before we wrap up, Noeli, if you can give one permission slip, right, to ambitious moms who want to build something, what would that be? And what's one practical step that they can take this week?
Ooh, permission slip is, do you need no permission? You can do it, right? Like there are so many resources now and people out there that can help you. And luckily we have more women in particular that are setting examples of how they do it. And your podcast, Paulina, is a great resource for that. Yeah, truly, because you're showing those women and you're putting those voices out there. So I would say, if you feel called to take that step for yourself of entrepreneurship, of being a working mom, like whatever that has to be, then reach out to anyone, I'm sure, that you've heard on this podcast, right? And go have that one-on-one conversation, even if it's just virtual, or hopefully it can be a coffee or something where you can connect, dive deeper. I think many of us are so willing to give our time and pay it forward however we can. And I know personally, right, it's an invitation. If you're ever curious about how to take that step as a business owner, how to do it right, I am all ears. I'm always so happy to have those conversations. So take advantage of that.
And yes, Noeli is an amazing resource, and I'm truly saying that from the bottom of my heart. Like, you've helped me multiple times. You've been a supporter of Mommy Collective. I literally think since day one. I think before they even started, I was like, oh, I know her. She's great. Like, you've been like riding with us forever, and I like appreciate you for that. So yes, you are an expert in your field, but you are just like, you're such a just amazing human. Like, you're so kind and sweet, and you're also a hard ass when it comes to business. Like, when it comes to get down to business time. So I love it. That's my kind of girl. Before we let you go, we have to announce that you are actually going to be our guest at the Dinner Plug series for March 11th. So get your tickets now if you haven't already. I think they literally have a couple seats left. I want to say like 6 seats left. Don't quote me, but I think that's where we're at. Yes, because they're a little bit smaller, more intentional, but you are going to be our fireside Q&A guest. So we're going to be talking the same things. We'll be talking trademarking. We'll be talking contracts, all the good stuff when it comes to business, all the important stuff, of course. And we're really excited to see you there. So thank you for joining us.
I'm so excited to be there. And yeah, come with your real questions. Yeah. And I'm happy to be a completely open book. Yeah. I'm so excited for that as well.
Oh, good. Me too. No, I'm very, very excited. So thank you for joining us March 11th. Make sure to head over to themommycollective.com/events. It's all the info's up there. And Noeli, where can we follow you on social media or any websites to check out? Where can we do that?
Yeah, so Instagram, Facebook, at Serna Legal Services. So Serna's SERNA, but Serna Legal Services anywhere really is where you will see us, including our website as well. And then the other, you mentioned we work with Latina. So we do also, I've started a professional networking group called the Latina Exchange, where Latina professionals come together in a network over dinner once a month as well. And those dinners have been just a beautiful, beautiful community where we all get to know each other. About 30 women come together every month. So I encourage you to look for Latina Exchange as well on social media.
Absolutely. Noeli, you are the best. Thank you for being here with us today.
Thank you for having me.
If you've been saying you need a reset, this is it. The Mommy Collective is hosting The Permission Slip, a live Zoom workshop with psychic Susan Rowland. It's for anyone who's been stuck in overthinking, second-guessing, or feeling like you're carrying everything and still trying to figure out what's next. You'll walk away with more clarity, less noise, and one solid next move you can take right away. Head to themommycollective.com, click events, and find The Permission Slip. See you there.